So starting out, I just made some notes. When your kids treat you like dirt. I kind of softened it a little bit yesterday and said, when your kids push you away. And then I read some messages that I got overnight, and it just breaks. I mean, I'm like choking up here. When your kids treat you like dirt, I just don't think it's fair. Our relationships are our story. And so you can say it doesn't matter. You can say, I'm through with those kids. I've had enough of that. And I've read your comments. And when you say, I'm through, I'm not going to let them do that to me again. But yet our relationships are a part of our story, and our relationships with our children are a huge part of the story of our lives. Let me make a point first. I don't have all the answers. My dad was an alcoholic. And so some of you are like, oh, Susie, clean, sweet girl because she never drank. No, I didn't drink because I had a rough childhood. My dad was a wonderful, funny, charming drunk. And so he worked, and we always had our needs supplied, but sometimes drinking could be ugly at our house. Mom got depressed. The result of that was I made vows. And one of my vows was I'll never drink. And another vow was I'll never let my child be treated like that. Sometimes the vows that we make with our kids, when we say, oh, my kids will never have to experience that, means that we try really, really hard. And if any of you have ever made that vow, I'll be the best parent I can be, right now, I want you just to take a deep breath in and just say to yourself, I did the best I could. I just want you to soak that in because it's coming straight from my heart. I read your stories. I've known you on Facebook for years, many of you. You did the best you could. You did what you thought was right at the time. So I made a little card for you. And I'd like for you to make a card for yourself and hang it in the bathroom mirror. You did your best. Maybe you need to say this to yourself several times a day. I did my best. I did the best I could at the time. I did my best as a parent. And maybe those kids are mad at you. Maybe you've made some mistakes. Maybe you messed up. Maybe it was a result of neglect. Maybe you neglected your kids. Maybe you had some stuff going on in your life and you neglected to do things right. Or maybe you gave too much. Maybe you tried to overcompensate for your own childhood and you were too generous and you overindulged your kids. No matter what the case is, if your kids are disrespecting you and sending you ugly emails, hanging up on you, I'm moving away from you, you can't see the grandkids, no, don't take that. You did your best. Just that. If you don't hear anything else, you can log off now if you want to, because you did your best. And then this one, this is a joke at our house. It seemed like a good idea at the time. So maybe you spent too much on one kid and you didn't spend as much on the other one. And so then later on it comes back to bite you. Or maybe you overindulged them. Maybe you neglected them. Maybe you went out and did something and your kids were all embarrassed about it or whatever. Seemed like a good idea at the time. None of us do anything that we think is a really bad idea. How many of us say, I'm going to get up and I'm going to follow all my bad ideas during my 20s or during my 30s? None of us set out to follow our bad ideas. It seemed like a good idea at the time, and I was doing my best. And that's what we do as individuals, and it's what we do as parents. I'm feeling pretty strongly about this, so if I get over emotional. So it seemed like a good idea at the time. And now the reality is we can't reparent. There's no reparenting. We can't go back and take it all back. We can't go back with new wisdom, and we can't go back and try to change the circumstances. And so let that go. One thing we can do is we can set new limits. And I get really mad, and I wish some of you, from the day I started my website, it was like, I wish everybody could just come sit on my porch and we could just hash out your problems with liver disease or your problems with whatever. Man, if you were on my porch right now, I'd shake you and I'd say, don't let those kids disrespect you. You need to set a new limit and set a new boundary. There's a way to talk to mama, and there's a way to talk to daddy, and there's a way not to. And getting emails or getting pushbacks from your kids like that, that's disrespect, people. And you're just too good for that. You did the best you could. You were doing your best. And you did what seemed. So when kids start making demands on you and do that bargaining thing, well, if you'll help me with this car, I saw one comment and they said, well, I bought a car for a kid and then I bought something else for another kid. If you've got adult kids who are relying on you for finances and you're letting an old guilt pull you back into that story, stop. Set a new limit, set a new boundary. You can't go back and reparent, but what you can do is just say, no. You don't have to explain yourself. These are adults. And my husband and I, we actually talked about this morning. I kind of went over my notes. You can't reparent, but you could start where you are. So just start right now where you are. And my thing is, so I wrote a note for that one too. And I'm not putting it on the whiteboard. Can't go back, but you can set new limits, set new boundaries. And no more disrespect. I wanted you guys to see that, because I want you to make a note and put it on your bathroom mirror, stick it up on your computer, put it next to your phone, so when your kids call, don't let anybody disrespect you. You did your best. You were doing your best as a parent at the time. If you've messed up, and if you've just totally screwed up, or even if you've just made small errors that added up, maybe you made a big mistake as a parent, or maybe you made a bunch of, hey, Matthew, hi, Susan, hi, you guys. Oh, thank you, Susan. I married a great guy. Now, this is a second marriage for both of us. And so we have a blended family now. He had 2 sons. I had never parented sons. I had 1 daughter. And so we've got this blended family now, and it's working well. But boy, after we got married, we had me and my cancer, and it was rough. And so family relationships can take a toll. So back to when we talk about these kind of things together as we parent adult children. And so as Joe and I talked about these notes this morning, he said, oh my gosh, the number one thing you can do, if you're in the middle, if you're embroiled in a fight with your kids and your kids are treating you like crap, love and forgive yourself first. Don't spend 1 more minute worrying about what your kids think. Stop right now and love and forgive yourself. And what I'd started to say was, maybe you had a big mess up as a parent. I mean, maybe you got mad, and I don't know what that would look like for you. It may be something really radical that you did that just everybody went, whoa. Or it might be a bunch of little things that you did. You know, maybe you were sick. And I'm not going to name any, because I can promise you I've done my share of messing up as a parent. We all have. We just do. It's how we just grow up with our kids. And so when you've made that mistake, get alone, get by yourself, and then just love and forgive yourself. Just that. Sounds real easy. That's the hard work. So just say, I love myself so much, and I forgive myself. When you do that, what you're doing is you're setting up a new model for the family to live by. You're not going back and trying to reparent. You're moving into the future from a place of love and self-respect and forgiveness. And maybe getting alone and doing that is just saying, I just love and forgive myself. And call yourself out. In spite of having done this, I just love and forgive myself. In spite of having parented this way, I deeply love and respect myself. I deeply love and value myself in spite of everything that's gone on. I did what I thought was best at the time. I don't think you guys realize the impact of my words, but I'm telling you, this will revolutionize your life with your adult kids. When you begin to love yourself, I read the stories, and I've written some blogs. I'm going to put my blogs in my notes when I get ready to end this, or I'll edit it, because I've written 2 or 3 blogs about relationships. There's some valuable tools in there that can help you. And I know this because my dad did a lot of these things. My dad quit drinking when I was in my 20s. And we spent my 30s and my 40s going through love, forgiveness, and reconciliation. I respected that man so much for the way that he lived his life. There were times when there was a lot of pain, but in the end, there was a lot of respect. I'm looking to make sure you guys can hear, and obviously you can. So get alone, love and forgive yourself. And how we get alone is detach. The wind blew. Oh, maybe that whole marker board thing wasn't a good idea today anyway. I'm out here on my back porch again. And we have a beautiful breeze coming through, and it's really humid today in Oklahoma. But the way to get alone and do that love and forgiveness is to say to your kids, email them, text them. If you can get on the phone with them, or if they try to come by, just say this: I don't listen well when I'm upset. And then just don't say anything else. I don't listen well when I'm upset. I need space. I need some time alone to think about these things. And then just stop. We can pick up with this. I can write more about it, or we can, if you guys like this, we can do another Facebook, because there's more steps to take next. But just say to your kids, I need some space and some time. I don't think well when I'm this upset. And tell your kids that, and then just stop. Don't buy into the whole drama thing. Believe me, I went back to my dad as a young adult because I was like parenting in the church, thinking I was doing everything so right. And I went back to my dad. Matter of fact, Father's Day is coming up, and that was one. Maybe I'll tell that story for Father's Day. But because I went back to my dad and I said, well, here's where I've been hurting, and here's what's hurt me as an adult. And we laughed. We ate Kentucky Fried Chicken on Father's Day, and we laughed about his mistakes and my forgiveness and his self-forgiveness. So I'm telling you, I know this system works, and I've used it with my own daughter, and my husband uses it. We use it with his sons and with my daughter. It works. So I don't listen well when I'm upset. We're going to go back through these cards one more time because I want you guys to remember. Yes, that's a good one, isn't it, Linda? Because then you're not opting out. You're not copping out and saying, I have no responsibility in this. We can accept our responsibility. Wow, I've made some mistakes. First of all, remember, people, I love you so much. You did your best. You gave birth, and you did your very best. That you thought you did. It seemed like a good idea at the time. And your kids are going to have to reconcile with their own children someday too. And they're going to have to say to their kids, it seemed like a good idea at the time. So you can set the role model for that. You can't go back. So I'm trying to make these set up straight. You can't go back. So just set new boundaries, set new limits. And if you don't know what those limits are, do nothing. Do nothing. Don't buy another thing. Don't get into another bargaining thing with them. Don't allow them to hurt you. Because what happens, those emotions wash over us. Okay, I don't listen well when I'm upset. You know why you don't listen well when you're upset? Because guilt and anger and resentment and shame and despair, and I'm cut off and I'm isolated from my family, and it hurts like heck. That's why you can't listen well when you're upset. That's a lot of emotion. So just tell them, say, I need space. I got to have some time. I don't listen well when I'm upset. And then we're stopping the disrespect, and we're going to love and forgive ourselves. I see this has gone about 13 minutes. I told myself I was going to keep it under 15. Hey, Amy. Good to see you, girl. Amy's one of my daughter's childhood friends, and she's watched her parents model really good parenting behavior, and now she's a mommy. And so that's what we do. We just go through those steps. Since my marker board fell down, I had it leaning. I've got this target up here. The previous owners must have played darts. We don't play darts, but I guess I could learn. But if anyone has any questions or comments, I'd be glad. Love you, Amy. And I hope that anyone who's dealing with your kids pushing you away or treating you poorly, I hope that you're able to take these steps. I've got a couple of minutes left. I could do this. I'll just write these real quick. Tell yourself, I did my best. I just realized what's happening here. This thing swings. It's meant to swing when the darts hit it. So that's why that's not working. So tell yourself, I did my best. And then you can't go back. So you're going to set new boundaries. Guys, I believe I'm a teacher. Boundaries. Set new boundaries. I'll just make it singular because I don't have enough space for plural. Maybe you need to make some notes. And sometimes I think when we see something and we say it and we write it, it rewires our brain. And that's ultimately what we're doing. We're rewiring our brain so that when fear or anger or stress sets in, then we don't get that chemical bath of negativity and guilt and shame. And we don't think, oh, nobody gets me, or I'm the crazy one. Don't go there. Just don't go there on I'm the crazy one. So you did your best, and no more disrespect. You're going to set new boundaries and no more disrespect. So no more dissing mom or dad, no matter what they've done, because you did what you thought was best at the time, right? And then tell them, I don't listen well when I'm upset. Maybe I'll put until calm. I don't listen well till I'm calmed down. And then get alone and calm down. And what are you going to do while you're calming down? You're going to love. You're going to forgive. And yeah, you may need to love and forgive your kids if they dissed on you real hard. But first, you're just going to love and forgive yourself. I did what I thought was best at the time. So, setting new boundaries, doing your best. You did your best. You did your very best as a parent. And I just value you as a parent. And I hope you can value all the gifts that you brought to the earth. And as you're getting better with liver disease, I hope that you feel the love today as it's coming from me. I'm your best friend. Hi, John. Dr. Karen. Hey, Jana. It's good to see some little Sandites. And Patty. Thank you, Patty. Those are good words, aren't they? I love you guys, and I hope I get a lot of private messages. And you know I get it. You guys don't want to talk about this in a public forum. And so we've got our private little chat rooms where we go to, and nobody can go unless they have liver disease or unless they had liver cancer or unless they're in a caregivers group. And so, I got a lot of emails from my last Facebook Live, and I got a lot of messages overnight while I was sleeping. And I get it if you don't want to respond on here. But please keep sending me your questions and your comments. I'd just love to help you at any time. Love you guys. Live from my back porch on Keystone Lake. I love y'all. And I'll put in the name of some blogs that I wrote about relationships. I hope they help.